So if you're a developer, I'm willing to bet you have a complicated relationship with your AI coding assistant, right? One minute, it's an absolute genius, saving you hours of work. The next, it's just completely off the mark. But what if the problem isn't always the AI? What if it's actually about the way we're talking to it?
Yeah, we've all been there. You're staring at your screen, it's some totally bizarre or just plain useless code snippet the AI spat out, and you're just wondering, how did we even get here? It's a super common frustration, and the answer, more often than not, lies in how we ask, in a series of common mistakes we call anti-patterns.
So what are these anti-patterns? Well, think of them as the bad habits we all accidentally fall into when we ask an AI for help. They're the real reason we end up with confusing code, vague answers, and just wasted time. Understanding these is the key to turning your AI from a frustrating intern into a genuine coding partner.
All right, let's kick things off at level 1. We're going to look at the foundational mistakes that trip up newcomers the most. Okay, take a look at this. It's a perfect example. On the left, you've got, how do I sort a list? I mean, what does that even mean? The AI is left guessing the language, the data type, everything. But look at the right. The request is so much clearer. How do I sort a list of objects in Python by the timestamp attribute? Bam! That tiny change makes all the difference between a generic, useless answer and a solution you can actually copy and paste. And this really boils down to one simple, powerful rule. If you give the AI ambiguity, it's going to give you ambiguity right back. You have to remember, it's not a mind reader. It's an incredibly powerful pattern matcher. So you've got to give it a clear pattern to follow.
Here's another classic beginner trap, asking for everything all at once. You know, the build me a whole game, add a scoring system, make it multiplayer, and throw in some sound effects kind of prompt. This mega prompt just creates total chaos. The output feels like 5 different people are all trying to talk at the same time. The better way? Treat it like a conversation. Break your huge idea down into smaller, manageable steps.
But what happens when a conversation just goes completely off the rails? You don't have to get stuck trying to fix a broken thread. And this is where this awesome analogy comes in. Think of it like a slot machine. If you keep getting bad results, you don't just keep feeding coins into that same broken machine, right? No, you just start a new chat. Pull the lever again.
Okay, so we've cleared the beginner level. Now let's level up. See, as developers get more experienced, they don't stop making mistakes. They just start making newer, more interesting ones. Now, as you get more comfortable, your first instinct is to provide more context. You know that context matters, so you might be tempted to just dump entire code files or big chunks of documentation into the prompt, thinking you being helpful.
But that assumption, well, it can be a real trap.
And this quote gets right to the heart of it. This is what's known as the kitchen sink anti-pattern. Shoving too much irrelevant context at the AI is actually worse than giving it no context at all, because it just gets distracted. The goal isn't more context, it's curated context. Quality over quantity every single time.
Another intermediate trap is getting tunnel vision. You've already invested time into a prompt, and you're just determined to make it work no matter what. But honestly, a much more powerful skill is knowing when to pivot. Instead of trying to force a broken approach, just stop and ask the AI for a completely different one.
And finally, let's talk about the advanced users. I mean, their expertise is a huge advantage, but it can also create some serious blind spots where overconfidence leads to subtle but really significant mistakes.
This one is so tempting for experts, the one-prompt project. It's this belief that you can craft one single, perfect, massive prompt that will generate an entire feature from the data model all the way to the UI in one glorious shot.
But that's just not how good software is built. I absolutely love this analogy. It says it all. You have to build the foundation before you can add the fancy stuff. You just can't start with the cherry on top.
So what does the right way look like? It's iterative. You work with the AI step by step, just like you would on any real-world project. First, get it to define the data model. Okay, great. Then, in a new prompt, ask it to generate the API endpoint based on that model. You build it piece by piece. This collaborative back-and-forth process gets you much cleaner, more reliable code. Advanced users also love to use system directives to enforce their favorite coding standards. And that can be great, but it becomes an anti-pattern when your rule set gets bloated. If your AI starts apologizing for not using a specific design pattern on a simple hello world function, you've probably gone too far. Your rules aren't helping anymore, they're just getting in the way. So after looking at all these different levels, what are the universal principles that tie this all together? How do we go from just using an AI to truly partnering with it? It really all boils down to these 3 pillars. First, clarity. Be super specific. Second, context. Give it focused, relevant information, not just more data. And third, collaboration. Treat the AI like a pair programmer. Have a real conversation, iterate on your ideas, and always verify the output. Look, at the end of the day, the AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's only as good as the person who's guiding it. It is ready to be an amazing co-pilot for your development journey. The only real question left is, are you ready to be a great pilot?